The network of undersea cables is so large that they connect all the continents together. It's like if an elephant's weight is placed on the smallest finger of the body under high pressure. The largest part is 6,600 kilometers long, which is called the Martian Cable. It starts from Virginia Bank in the United States, passes through the dark depths of the Atlantic Ocean, and ends at Bilbao, Spain. The total length of the cables laid is more than 1.4 million kilometers. So much so, that if these cables were wrapped around all the planets of our solar system and their moons, then the cable would remain that much, that it would be able to make a round trip again on Earth. Now, it is obvious that laying such long cables at a depth of 1,000 meters in the sea is not an easy task. It costs more than $2.5 million to lay only 1 kilometer of cable. If the cost comes, now you can estimate yourself how much it would have cost to travel 14 Loch kilometers. And finally, what was the need to do all this when, in this era, the same work was done with the help of satellites to spread information to the whole world? Think of it as 8 million people on just one cable can stream simultaneously, and there are 493 such cables. On the contrary, if the same work is done by satellite, then 24,000 people will be able to watch simultaneously from the same 4 ends on one satellite. It will have to be installed by satellite, which will cost more, and compared to the sub-million cable, the repair of the satellite is also more costly and difficult. And if for some reason the badger in the satellite is faulty, it is difficult to replace it. Millions of US dollars would have to be used, which is why it is easier to lay millions of kilometers of cable under the sea than satellite or wireless connectivity. That this highway will also be quite wide, that is, these cables will be thicker than a normal green fiber country cable, but it is not the case. Now the question arises how to send so much data through such a thin wire. This hair-sized wire is called the fiber opening cover, which is made of glass or plastic. It travels in small packets. First, the data in the computer is converted from an electrical signal to a light signal with the help of a transmitter. A transmitter is sent which has only 2 bars, 1 and 0. Light indicates +1, and when there is no pulse it indicates signs. There is a layer between which the light travels, and outside of it is called bleeding. This process is called total internal reflection. Now at longer distances, it becomes per light signal, for which a cricketer is installed after every 100 kilometers, which light signal gives this man to fulfill the same part. And DC current is sent over the blading because the same power sources are not present in the middle of the motion, so the ray fiber optic cable passing through the copper layer to power these amplifiers is used to transmit multiple signals simultaneously. The capability is called wavelength division multiplexing. That is, WDM, where different colors of light are passed through the fiber opening simultaneously, and each color of light has separate data packets. As you know, this video is 79 million kilometers, meaning that this data is transmitted from one place to another at the speed of light. After reaching a distance of thousands of kilometers, the data is converted back into an electrical signal with the help of a photodiode or photodetector, and then a computer or mobile phone. The device can be reconstituted into graphics or any other form, and the thickness of the submarine cable in addition to the braiding and copper layer is due to the layering and layers above it to protect the cable from extreme water pressure. But even so, a cable is damaged by a shock attached to the Earth and a working election inside the sea. But the main reason for this damage is fishing. It is done with a don with a rope attached to it, which is connected to the Sarda vessel. If it is thrown away, it will cause a lot of damage due to dragging. Now here all of you must have one question in your mind, that if the cables are damaged in the bottom of such a wet and desolate sea, then it is okay to replace them. Then, the next thing. Yes, but first of all, where is the damage of thousands of kilometers of wire? How is that location pinpointed? Let us tell you here that today's modern cables are 1 inch thick. If 1 kilometer is weighed, it is 1,400 kilograms. That is, for installation in the sea as much as a sedan car, thousands of kilometers of wire can be installed in one piece with the help of special skills on the sea bottom. They are brought to the location, and a special reporting device capable of moving on the seafloor is used to excavate the road with a little tail and simultaneously lay the cable in it, a fairly slow process. It is very important to do it carefully. According to an estimate, it took 2 years to install outside the 66 kilometers between the US and Europe. It took 2 years to connect the first wire to the wire. When one phase was finished outside, another phase full of cables was called, and the work of laying the first wire was done by connecting it to the wire. The greatest obstacle in the whole operation is created by weather. Atlantic motion has a 365-year cycle of winds, and when this wind takes the form of a hurricane, none of them are more frequent than in the Atlantic Ocean. Sometimes there is a Category 1 hurricane. Even as I'm researching for the video, Atlantic motion has a Category 1 hurricane that is forecast to hit the coast of Ireland on August 23rd. Because of the storm, the installation work is delayed for several days until the weather. The activities of the sailors are suspended as soon as the connection between the two is broken, which means that a special device such as an optical timer is used to determine exactly where the cable is damaged. Called a select, this device sends a light pulse from both ends, and because the light pulses bounce off the cable break, how long it takes for the returning pulses to return and the signal strength remains is estimated as after exactly how many kilometers there is damage in the cable. This process is done from both ends, and it is verified that both the locations are same or not. At the location, it is sent to the model of the sea. First, with the help of Farouquis, the cable is physically inspected, and then the cable is taken out and the damaged part of the vessel tower above is cut and another piece is installed in it. Goes fiber voting code because the glass means so it works enough so that with one glass and another, it looks like the time the process is called slice, if the cable is dropping, or the ocean modem. If it is too low, first one part is lifted up, the other end is attached to the outside and laid down again. Answers to many of your questions about installation and repair of cables under the ocean. Make sure to like and subscribe.